If it's Friday night, say yeah, for it is Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Hello, friends. It's Anthony Flair here with you for our Week 10 edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. I'm joined by Michael Bullock. I just received a text a few moments ago from good old MF Michael Fletcher. Unfortunately, he will not be joining us this evening. He has work commitments beyond his control. So, so the Yes Movement is going to be running this show here tonight.
That's why I was just about to say the Yes Movement is running the show tonight.
Indeed, it is Bullock. Since MF will not be joining us this evening, but we're hopeful that he will be back with us Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, as we'll be kicking off a very exciting week of programming here on this site. A huge announcement came out per Derek Ferreira this afternoon. And Michael Bullock informed me of it, and I saw it, and we got some very exciting future content to share. But that will be at the end of the show. So, all right, Week 10 of the NFL season. Of course, it got underway last night as part of Thursday Night Football, which is for the rest of the way going to be on NBC and the NFL Network. The Seattle Seahawks defeating the Arizona Cardinals 22-16 at University of Phoenix Stadium in Arizona last night. Good news is the Seahawks won. The bad news is the win came with a price. They lost their best defensive player, Richard Sherman, done for the year, ruptured Achilles tendon. He's done for the year. So we'll definitely get into how that will affect Seattle next week when we talk about the Seahawks next game and every game going forward. So that's a big loss for Seattle. So definitely wish Richard Sherman the best. Say what you want about him. Of course, you know he is very controversial. I mean, we'll never forget that infamous blow up he had when he was literally barking at Aaron Andrews. That infamous Michael Crabtree rant during that epic NFC Championship win over San Francisco, January of 2014. So he's best known for that, but he's toned it down a bit, but he's still But nonetheless, we wish him the best in his recovery, and you know, man, hard times this year. I mean, a lot of big names been going down with injuries, and and he's now the newest casualty. I mean, joining a list that includes, just to name a few, Aaron Rodgers, J.J. Watt, Deshaun Watson, just to name a few, Julian Edelman. I mean, my. So that's all we can say on that. So let's just dive on into Week 10, the rest of the slate for Week 10. Um, we're gonna start it off with the New Orleans Saints squaring off against my Buffalo Bills. It'll be at New Era Field, Ralph Wilson Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, on Fox. And we're going to be getting this game on our local Fox affiliate, Fox Providence. I checked the maps, and we're going to be getting it. Kenny Albert, Rondé Barber, Christina Pink will have it. And the Saints are 2.5 to 3-point favorites. Series history favors the New Orleans Saints by a count of 6-4. Saints have won the last 4 meetings in a row. They last met in 2013 in New Orleans. The Saints won 35-17. Last meeting in Buffalo was 2009. Saints also won that 27-7. The Buffalo Bills have only beaten the New Orleans Saints at home once. And that came all the way back in the year of my birth, 1983, 27-21. So that's pretty much dominance right there by New Orleans. And this game was actually ranked in the FPI top 5. This game came in at number 5 in the FPI ratings this week. So here we go. It's not as if the Saints suddenly have the best defense in football. It's just that when Drew Brees is your quarterback, you basically just need to not have one of the worst defenses in football. And the Saints have most certainly accomplished that. The Saints rank 15th in defensive efficiency so far this season, good enough to help Brees and the powerful offense, 3rd in efficiency, earn 6 straight wins. FPI hadn't really thought the Bills as a quality team even before their loss to the Jets last Thursday. And now the model ranks Buffalo as the 24th best team in the NFL. That's why the Saints, whom FPI has as the 7th best team going forward, and 4.7 points per game over an average NFL team, are favorites in Buffalo, even though the Bills have a winning record. Okay. There are a lot of things that can trip up the Saints this week. Buffalo's opportunistic defense, NFL leading 2.1 takeaways a game, Sean McCoy and Tyrod Taylor, and potential weather conditions. But the Saints seem better equipped to handle all of those elements than they've been in years, with a standout defense and running game flanking Drew Brees. Since their 6-game winning streak began in week 3, the Saints have the NFL's #1 pass defense and #2 defense overall. Current projections call for temperatures in the low 40s and close to 0% chance of precipitation. That would seem to benefit the Saints, although their offense has performed well in both the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and on the road this season. The Saints, who are 3-1 on the road, have averaged 25 points a game, 9th in the NFL, and 384 yards, 5th away from New Orleans this season. The Bills are 4-0 at home, but have beaten the Jets, Broncos, Buccaneers, and Raiders, who are a combined 3-14 on the road. Now, as much as I want my team to win, of course, I want my team to win all the time, but I don't see that happening here. I'm afraid it's going to be a second straight loss for my team here. I think they'll keep it close though, but I think New Orleans will steal it and they'll make it 5 in a row against Buffalo. So I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints to win reluctantly. My final score, I'm going to go 24-20, New Orleans over Buffalo. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. New Orleans Saints, Buffalo Bills, number 5 game of the week, according to the FPI.
Yeah, what can you say about the New Orleans Saints? Winners of 6 in a row ever since that 0-2 start, and I'll be quite honest. When they fell 0-2, it was going to be another meh year for the Saints. And I'm pretty sure you thought the same way, Florio, but no, they certainly have come out and surprised the living hell out of everybody, and they're leading the. If you were to tell me that they would have been leading the NFC South up to this point, no chance in hell of that happening. But yeah, here they are, 2 on the season, and yeah, certainly a chance to go to 7-2. The Bills. What can you say? They've been good, but the thing is, I don't even know what to. I don't even know what to expect now for this. The Bills, they really need to step up here because if they lose this one, they're going to be falling further behind in that AFC East, and that's the last thing they would want. So, yeah, I got to go with the New Orleans Saints to win this one. Their defense has been playing very well as of late. I'm going to say 27-20 is going to be the final score. Expect Saints quarterback Drew Brees to have a good game. I think the defense is definitely going to make enough plays to stop the Bills' offense. And yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's just move on to the next game, which lead off on.
Yeah, you'll be starting it off, Bullock, and you're going to be starting off on the oldest rivalry in NFL history. This is their second meeting. They've already met once this season. It was back on a Thursday night. We got the Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago. This game will be on Fox, just like New Orleans and Buffalo will be on Fox. I believe it's going to be Tom Brenneman with Chris Spielman and Peter Schrager. They're going to be in Chicago for this second meeting of the Bears and the Packers. And this spread's going to surprise a lot of people. The Chicago Bears are actually favored here. 5.5 to 6 point favorites for Chicago. Series history. it was tied going into that Thursday night game, but Green Bay won. So Green Bay now leads it 94-93 with 6 ties. And Packers have now won 3 consecutive meetings. They won in Chicago last year, 30-27. Matter of fact, the Chicago Bears have not beaten the Green Bay Packers at home since 2010. I think this could be where it ends.
Actually, Florio, I have to correct you on this. They have a 95, 94, and 6 lead in the series.
Well, that's counting playoffs too, but like I'm only going by regular season. So.
Oh, all right.
We don't count playoffs during the regular season. That's how we do it when it comes to the series history. But I'm glad you mentioned that. But it's 94-93 with 6 ties regular season wise. We only talk about playoffs when we do playoff previews. But the Packers, like I said, have won 3 meetings in a row, and they've won the last 6 meetings in Chicago. And the Bears have not beaten the Packers at home since 2010. So I do want to check and make sure that this game is not in our. I don't believe this game made our top 5. I'm pretty sure it didn't. Before I give it to you, Bullock, I just want to double check and make sure. I don't believe this game made it. Did this game make it? No, it did not. All right, so we're good. So, all right, Bullock. We all remember what happened on that Thursday night game. Green Bay pounded Chicago 35-14. Rodgers was playing.
And don't forget those rain delays. That rain delay. And don't forget that rain delay that happened.
Oh, yeah, the rain delay. Yes, there was a weather delay in that game as well. Yes, absolutely. But nonetheless, it's a whole new ball game now. Aaron Rodgers out, Brett Hundley in. Could this be the moment for the Chicago Bears? Can they finally beat the Packers at home for the first time in 7 years?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is the 196th meeting for them, and yeah, I mean, yeah, the Bears, like you said, they've drawn 3 in a row, 7 of 8, and 13 of 15 to the Packers. But the development of Trubisky, coupled with the absence of Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, has brought new hope to the city. Matched its win total from a season ago. It has won 2 of its past 3 games. The Bears are 2-2 at home this season and are well rested after a bye week. Green Bay is eager to change its narrative and reassert itself as a playoff contender. Since Rodgers went down, the Packers have lost and have averaged only nearly 15 points a game. I mean, Brett Hundley has produced a lackluster 58.3 passer rating, has passed for 1 touchdown, and has thrown 4 picks. So, I mean, he is confident that he and his teammates on offense can improve. He leans on his own strengths instead of pressuring himself to replicate Rodgers' style. And of course, let's not forget, the Rodgers injury is not the only one for Green Bay. Morgan Burnett with a groin, tackle Brian Bulaga with a torn ACL. And then let's not forget, they released tight end Martellus Bennett this week, and of course he's now back with the New England Patriots. So we'll get to that when we get to the Patriots game coming up. But that means Richard Rodgers and Lance Kendricks are going to have to step up in the tight end role, I should say. And of course, the receivers really need to step up with Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams, and Jordy Nelson. Number 23 in total offense with an average of 310 yards per game. On the opposite side of the ball, the Bears rank 4th to last in total offense with almost 288 yards per game. Green Bay has struggled on defense too, ranking 25th overall in allowing 357 yards a game. I mean, and the injuries have also affected the Bears as well. They're going to be, of course, without Zach Miller for the rest of the season after that frightening leg injury that he suffered. and linebacker Danny Trevathan could miss the game as well. So, but the one player who expects to make his Bears debut is wide receiver Dontrell Inman, who was acquired from the LA Chargers. So big thing for Trubisky. So yeah, and I think with everything that's been going on with Green Bay, not just with the injuries, but with the whole Martellus Bennett situation, I'm gonna say this is the time where the Chicago Bears. I think they're gonna do it. I think they'll beat the Green Bay Packers. My final score, I'm gonna say, is gonna be 20-17. So nothing more to say. So Florio, what do you think? Can the Green Bay Packers bounce back, or do you think the Bears can get a rare win against their rivals?
Wow. I'll tell you, this isn't your typical Packers Bears game. First off, there hasn't been one since 1991 where either Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre didn't start. Second, it's the first matchup in which both teams have a 500 or lower record since 2003. At some point, the Packers will figure out how to win without Rodgers. Could it be this week? Nope, not seeing it. This game will serve as a referendum for where the Bears are headed under John Fox. Chicago is favored over Green Bay for the first time since 2008, and for good reason. The Bears' defense should have little trouble with Green Bay's offense, led by quarterback Brett Hundley, who seems lost at times in the pocket. Chicago's offense is averaging only 16.8 points a game, but as long as Mitchell Trubisky doesn't self-destruct with turnovers, the Bears have enough to win an ugly game. So I'm going with the Chicago Bears to win this game as well. 21-16 is my final score. I'm going with Chicago to defeat Green Bay. No doubt about that. So let's move on to our next matchup. And it's one of our Zonk games of the week. The number 2 Zonk game of the week. There's actually a game that's worse than this. It's going to be the Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Detroit Lions at Ford Field in Detroit. Now, this game will be on CBS. It'll be Spiro Ditas with Adam Archuleta. They will have the call from Ford Field for the Browns and the Lions. And a very easy series history for the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions lead this all-time series 15-4 regular season-wise, including 3 consecutive meetings in a row they've won against the Browns. They last met in 31-17. Their last meeting in Detroit was back in 2009. Detroit won a wild one, a surprisingly 5-star classic of a game, 38-37. And the Browns have not beaten the Lions since 2001. That was in Cleveland, 24-14. The last time the Cleveland Browns won at Detroit, once again, second time tonight, you got to go back to the year of my birth, 1983. The Cleveland Browns defeated the Detroit Lions 31-26 at the old Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. So that's the last time the Browns beat the Lions on the road in Detroit. It was at the old Silverdome in 83. And the Detroit Lions, 10.5 to 12-point favorites. Oh, by the way. So, well, the Lions' pass defense has 10 interceptions, and Detroit has forced 10 fumbles, recovering 6. That's a tough matchup for rookie quarterback Deshaun Kaiser. Defensively, the Browns have done a great job stopping the run. But quarterback Matthew Stafford is having a strong season with a 94.4 rating. That does not match well with a porous Browns secondary. The Lions are 1-3 historically in games in which they are facing a team that is 0-8 or worse. That's not a good ratio, but this is a different Detroit team. The Lions are a more talented team and have been less prone to the baffling mistakes the franchise has made in years past. Detroit's defense, particularly the secondary, should turn the Browns into a run-only team, and the Lions' number 6 ranked run defense is good enough to handle that. Meanwhile, Stafford has been on a tear and should put up at least 250 yards. This game should not be particularly close. I'm going with the Detroit Lions to win this game. Lock of the week, 31-10. Detroit all over Cleveland at Ford Field. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, smells like an easy one for the Lions here.
Yeah, this is going to be an easy win for the Lions. I'm just going to make this short and sweet. I'm going to say 31-0. Uh, Lions are going to be all over the Browns, so not going to waste any time on this. Let's just move on to the next game that I'll talk about.
And we're going to stay with the CBS action. It's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off the Soil Stadium in Indianapolis. This game will be on CBS, and it'll be Greg Gumbel with Trent Green and Jamie Erdahl. They will be in Indy for this one. Pittsburgh, a huge favorite as well. They're 10 to 11.5-point favorites over the Colts. And get the series history before I give it to you, Bullock. Just bear with me for a moment, and what else is new. So, one more should do it. There we go. Pittsburgh leads the all-time series 17-6 regular season wise. Steelers have won 4 consecutive meetings with the Colts, including each of the last 3 years. Their last meeting was a year ago in Indianapolis. Pittsburgh won easily 28-7. As I recall, I think that was a Thanksgiving game as well. I think that was on Thanksgiving night last year, if I recall correctly. But nonetheless, Pittsburgh won that 28-7. Colts have not beaten the Steelers since 2008. That was in Pittsburgh, 24-20. Last time the Colts won at home against the Steelers, go back to 2005 on a Monday night. Colts easily won 26-7. So 17-6 all-time regular season for Pittsburgh over Indianapolis. And Michael Bullock, I think it's safe to say I think we should bump that up to 18-6 in favor of Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the Pittsburgh's going to have no problem. I mean, let's face it. The offense. Well, shall I say the secondary? The Colts, they have the second worst pass defense in the NFL, giving up almost 280 yards through the air. Vontae Davis, he's pretty much done. He's done for the year. And then, of course, they can't protect their quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, because their offensive line has been inconsistent. And they're facing a team in a Pittsburgh defense that is effective at sacking the quarterback. And, of course, they are tied for 4th in the NFL with 26 sacks. So, yeah, they're going to have no problem with this one. I'm going to say 34-14 is going to be my final score. Roethlisberger is going to have another solid game. Same thing on the ground with Le'Veon Bell. The receiving core with Antonio Brown, I think will have a good game. And Juju Smith-Schuster. What can you say about this guy? He's been getting better every week. And, I've been very impressed with this guy, and I think he's pretty much taken some of the pressure off of Antonio Brown. So, yeah, Pittsburgh will win this one. And Florio, you like this guy? You got to be impressed with Juju Smith-Schuster.
Absolutely, without question. But I'll get into that in a moment. Game, hoping for more bounce in the season's second half. As Indy has allowed 124 points losses to Pittsburgh, with Ben Roethlisberger posting an outrageous 1,107 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions during that stretch. The Colts' overmatched offensive line has allowed 36 sacks, just what the Steelers' second-ranked pass rush with 26 sacks wants to hear. Quarterback Jacoby Brissett can pose problems for the Steelers' passing defense, but it will not be enough. This game is every Pittsburgh fantasy owner's dream. That's because the Steelers have beaten the Colts by a total of 124 points in the past 3 meetings. But hold on, it gets better, or worse if you're a Colts fan. The Colts have 0 sacks in those 3 games. Indianapolis will head into Sunday's game with the 31st ranked defense and being last in the NFL in points allowed at 28.9 points a game. There's really nothing left for me to say on this. It's all Pittsburgh. Another lock of the week, 38-14. Pittsburgh, all over Indianapolis. No problem there for them whatsoever. So let's move on to our next matchup. Another CBS game here. Interesting matchup here. We got the Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the Jacksonville Jaguars at Everbank Field in Jacksonville. This game will be on CBS. We got Andrew Catalan and James Lofton on the call for CBS for this Charger-Jaguar matchup. For a moment while I get my spreads for this one. I'm almost certain Jacksonville's the favorite here. I would imagine they got to be the favorite here. Just bear with me for a minute. While I wait for that, I can get you the series history between these two. And the Chargers actually lead the all-time series 7-2, and the Chargers have won 6 consecutive meetings with the Jaguars, including each of the last 3 years. Sound familiar? We just talked about that a little time ago. The last meeting was last year in San Diego. Chargers won easily 38-14. They last met in Jacksonville the year before, 2015. The then San Diego Chargers survived 31-25. Jacksonville has not beaten the Chargers since 2007. That was a 24-17 win in Jacksonville, by the way. So, okay, we got the spread here. Jacksonville, a 4.5-point favorite, by the way. So, and this game actually, I believe, came in as the high leverage game of the week. And no, actually, it came in as the number 4 game of the week. I stand corrected. Number 4 game of the week. The strength of this Chargers team is its passing game, which ranks 8th best in expected points per game and points per play through the air. That's a little surprising given that Phillip Rivers ranks 23rd in total QBR this year. But ultimately, the goal is to gain points as an offense, not just as a quarterback. The problem for LA is that it is going against the pass game killers. The Jaguars. As we noted last week, the Jaguars are defending the pass even better than the Seahawks' 2013 Legion of Boom did. So this is a matchup problem for Los Angeles, to say the very least. Yes, the Jaguars are much improved and have one of the best defenses in the league. But the Chargers are coming off a bye week and have defeated Jacksonville in the past 6 matchups by an average of 19 points a game. And Blake Bortles, although playing better, has thrown 5 interceptions against the Chargers in the past 3 games. Phillip Rivers has owned the Jaguars in his career, 6-1, 2,119 yards, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But this is a significantly better defense than those he faced, especially over the past 4 seasons. The Jaguars lead the NFL in pass defense, sacks, and yards per play allowed, and the defense has allowed just 10 points in the past 10 quarters. They've handled Ben Roethlisberger and Joe Flacco, combined 0 touchdowns and 7 interceptions this season already, and Phillip Rivers is next. This is a little bit of a tough one to call, but with this game being in Jacksonville, and with how much better Jacksonville has gotten, I got to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. 24-13, Jacksonville over the Los Angeles Chargers. So, Michael Bullock, is this an agree or disagree situation here?
I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. I mean, they continue to get better every week, and I mean, who knows? I mean, could this be the year that they finally become a playoff team? I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I mean, San Diego, I mean, they continue to definitely show some fight, so they're definitely gonna give this Jacksonville Jaguars team some fits. So, but in the end, I mean, Jacksonville, I mean, I like what I've seen from them, especially defensively. So, in the end, I am going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. I'm going to say 28-24. Jaguars beat the LA Chargers. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So I am just going to. So, well, let's just move on, Florida, to the next game, which I will lead off on.
And that next game is yet another CBS matchup. And this is the game we're going to be getting on our CBS affiliate. It's going to be the New York Jets squaring off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Kevin Harlan and Rich Gannon will have the call of that one. The Jets are 2.5-point favorites, and the Jets lead the all-time series against the Bucs. Get this, Bullock, 10-1. Can you believe that? 10-1. The New York Jets lead the all-time series with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jets have won the last 8 meetings in a row. That's why. Their last meeting was 2013 in New York. Jets won 18-17. Last meeting in Tampa Bay was 2009. Jets won 26-3. The only time the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have ever defeated the New York Jets was all the way back in 1984, a 41-21 beatdown at the old Tampa Stadium, as Chris Berman used to call the old sombrero. So that was the last time the Bucs. That's the only time the Bucs have ever beaten the Jets. So Michael Bullock, I ask you, is this where the Bucs finally snap the Jet hijinks, or the Jet jinx rather, or are we going to make it 11-1 and 9 in a row for the Jets?
Well, I mean, basically, with the Buccaneers, they've been pretty much a disappointing team, to say the very least. We had high expectations for them going into the season, but they're 2-6 up to this point, and yeah, they're going to be without Jameis Winston for a while, so yeah, it's not looking good. And the Jets, we thought they were going to be terrible this season, but it's Ryan Fitzpatrick who's going to be starting, so against his former team, so yeah, and Josh McCown, has been doing, he's been doing really good. 13 touchdowns and 7 picks so far. I just think with the way Tampa's been playing, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually going to go with the New York Jets to win this one. I'm going to say my final score, I'm going to say 20-17 is going to be the final. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
This is a dangerous spot for the Jets, who seem a bit overconfident after last week's win. Their former quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, is a smart cookie who knows their scheme and personnel for Mike Evans, but his 2 tight ends and it'll cause problems for them. The Jets have allowed 513 receiving yards to tight ends, 27th, and 6 touchdowns. The Bucs are better than their record and are due for a slump buster. On the other hand, last week against the Bills, Jets running backs Bilal Powell and Matt Forte combined for an impressive 194 rushing yards. The Bucs are surrendering 117 rushing yards a game, 22nd in the league. Against the Saints last week, they surrendered 151 rushing yards to Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. Until the Bucs defense can get off the field and the offense can put up more points, I'm afraid the losing streak will continue. So I think it will continue. I got the Jets winning as well. My final score, I'm going to go 27-23, the Jets over the Bucs at Raymond James Stadium. So let's move on to our next game, which now this is the high leverage game of the week. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Tennessee Titans. This is a game that you would usually see on CBS, but nope. This is going to be a Fox game. Fox actually has this one. We're going to have the legendary Dick Stockton with Mark Schlereth and Shannon Spake. And the Tennessee Titans are 4.5 to 5-point favorites. And the city division rivals, of course, they used to meet in the old AFC Central way back when. Just give me a moment while I find this. Okay, there it is. Tennessee Titans lead the all-time series 39-33 with one tie. That one tie came back in 1969 at the Astrodome in Houston. It was a 31-31 tie, and that was in their second meeting all time. That was their second meeting that tie came. Their last meeting was in 2014 in Cincinnati. Bengals won 33-7. Last meeting in Nashville was 2011. The Bengals won that one 24-17. Titans last beat the Bengals in 2008 in Cincinnati 24-7. Titans last beat the Bengals at home back in 2004 27-20. This game, by the way, at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. And like I said, high leverage game of the week is this game with Cincinnati and Tennessee, and rightfully so. Apparently, Cincinnati is still hanging on at 3-5. Who knew? If they can beat the Titans this week, the Bengals would have a 15% chance to reach the playoffs. That's not nothing, especially for a team that just about everyone has already counted out. But this is really the leverage game because of the Titans, who occupy an interesting place in the AFC playoff picture. Tennessee has the same record, 5-3, as Jacksonville. But FPI thinks the Jaguars, at 72%, have a much better chance at the division than the Titans at just 26%. The Titans will be in the middle of the wild card race, even if they fall behind the Jaguars in the coming weeks. In that case, the Titans likely will be battling the Bills, Ravens, and maybe the Chargers for 2 wild card spots. As it stands, Tennessee has a 63% chance to gain a berth, but that will drop to 43% with a loss this weekend. The Bengals offense looked as bad as it has all season, with less than 200 net yards against the Jaguars last week. Until they figure out how to get the ball to their playmakers, it's hard to imagine the offense getting much better. The defense has played well at times, but struggled with Blake Bortles last Sunday and was on the field for too many plays. Another road game won't help. The Titans are on a 3-game winning streak in which their defense has feasted on struggling offenses. They get the 32nd ranked Bengals offense Sunday and another opportunity for Kevin Byard and the defense to force turnovers. A.J. Green will draw a lot of attention from Logan Ryan and the Titans' improved secondary. The Titans should get enough from their offense to win comfortably for the first time in a while. So I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans to win this game. My final score, I'm going to go 21-10, Tennessee over Cincinnati, keep their winning ways going. So Michael Bullock, what says you? Cincinnati and Tennessee, renewal of old AFC Central rivals.
Yeah, definitely a renewal of a rivalry here. I mean, the Titans. What can you say? I mean, they look to continue to play well. I mean, and like you said, they were former rivals of the AFC Central of 20 and 30 years ago. I mean, of course, they edged Baltimore last week, so Tennessee has won 3 in a row, and they enter Week 10 tied with Jacksonville for first place in the South. So, yeah, and of course, the Bengals. Their struggles. A lack of offensive punch has been the problem for the Bengals, and they're tied for 28th in points per game, last in total yards and rushing yards per game, and 28th in passing yards. So, yeah, the offensive struggles, I think, is definitely going to continue for them, but I got to go with the Tennessee Titans to win this one. I'm going to say 28-21 is going to be my final score. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Let's just move on to the next game I will talk about.
And it's our final 1:00 game, Michael Bullock. We got and we got a good one here too. The Minnesota Vikings squaring off against the Washington Redskins at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. This game on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Charles Davis, Pam Oliver on the call. Minnesota, a 1.5 point favorite over Washington. regular season series history between these two, it's tied 10-10. Washington won the last meeting a year ago in Washington, 26-20. Last meeting in Vikings last beat the Redskins in 2014. That was in Minnesota, 29-26. Minnesota has not won in Washington since 2011. That was a 33-26 win for Minnesota. And this game came in as, get this, the number 2 game of the week, according to the FPI top 5 games of the week. So Michael Bullock, number 2 game of the week for the FPI, Minnesota, Washington, in Washington. Tough one to call, but I know it's tough for you, but who do you got in this one?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, the Redskins, I mean, what can you say? They're coming off of a 17-14 upset of the Seattle Seahawks. Now they're 4-4, and they're basically in the wild card chase and going up against a rested Minnesota Vikings team. And the Redskins are starting to get healthy, but the only guys who were held out of practice were Trent Williams, tackle Trent Williams, Arthur Jones, and 11 others were limited. But yeah, they're starting to really get healthy, and yet, I mean, somehow they did win the game without even a running game. Only 51 yards on the ground. I mean, yeah, the Redskins offense did struggle, but Kirk Cousins was the one who led the team back and got the win over the team. Washington ranks 10th in passing yards per game and 9th in passing yards per play. Now, Kirk Cousins is going to be facing a stern test against Minnesota's defense. The Vikings haven't allowed more than 20 points since a Week 2 loss to Pittsburgh. They are ranked 4th in yards allowed per game and 2nd in third down percentage. However, defensive end Everson Griffin did not practice and will be a big loss if he can't go Sunday against the mobile Kirk Cousins. Of course, the Vikings are coming off of a bye week, preceded by 4 straight wins that put them atop the NFC North. Minnesota plays 4 of its next 5 games on the road. After Sunday, of course, get this, Florio. I mean, after Sunday, after that, the Vikings get the LA Rams, the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Carolina Panthers. Certainly not going to be an easy task for this Minnesota Vikings after this game. On Wednesday, the Vikings placed quarterback Sam Bradford on injured reserve to make room on the roster for quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Bradford, who has missed 6 of the past 7 games, had arthroscopic surgery on Tuesday. Case Keenum, who was 4-2 as the start of the season, will start against Washington, but Bridgewater, who hasn't played since suffering his horrific left knee injury before the start of the 2016 season, will be active and serve as the backup. But Coach Zimmer said Bridgewater will wear a knee brace, is ready to go. Keenum has completed 149 of 233 passes for 1,610 yards with 7 touchdowns and 3 picks. The bye was timely for Minnesota's much improved offensive line, as starters guard Nick Easton and tackle Mike Remmers could return for the game. Easton missed the past 3 games with a calf injury, and Remmers left the October 29th game against the Browns with a concussion in the first quarter. Easton practiced Wednesday. Remmers did not. The Vikings face a Redskins defense ranked 18th in yards per game and coming off an impressive performance against Russell Wilson. The teams are playing for the 7th time in 8 years. The Vikings have won 4 of 6, but the Redskins won 26-20 last season at FedEx. So this is a tough one here, but in the end, I just think Minnesota looks better. I know Washington's coming off an impressive win over Seattle, but Minnesota is definitely different. So I'm gonna say 24-14 is gonna be my, or no, actually, scratch that. I'll say 24-21. Minnesota wins and beats the Redskins. So Florio, I mean, all I can say is I think Minnesota needs to win this game because after that, the teams I just mentioned they're gonna go up against certainly not easy.
No, that's a murderer's row schedule indeed. Does the news that the Vikings may activate Teddy Bridgewater and put Sam Bradford on injury reserve really change the Vikings' plans at quarterback if Case Keenum stays healthy? It may seem crazy not to go back to Bridgewater, who was the Vikings' unquestioned starter before an injury sidelined him just prior to the 2016 season, but consider how well Keenum has played. Keenum ranks fifth in total QBR so far in 2017, and his 64.4 is higher than Bridgewater's total QBR in either 2014 or 2015. It isn't a case of being efficient in a small sample either, as Keenum has added 14.3 points more than the average quarterback given the same playing time, sixth highest in the league. If you were Mike Zimmer, would you hand the keys to the offense back to a guy who hasn't played a competitive game since the end of the 2015 season, or go with the guy who has been one of the five most efficient quarterbacks in the league this year? Washington, on the other hand, will need a better performance from Kirk Cousins. Cousins did lead the game-winning drive last week against Seattle's strong defense, but prior to that drive, Cousins' raw QBR for the game was a 12, and Minnesota has allowed a lower QBR to opposing quarterbacks this year than has Seattle. Coming off a bye, Minnesota is well rested and riding a four-game winning streak. Case Keenum remains the starter at quarterback even with Teddy Bridgewater now active. And while he completed critical throws under pressure against Cleveland, interceptions have been an issue in each of Keenum's past three games. Wide receiver Adam Thielen will continue to be a key weapon for the Vikings in the second half, and Minnesota's top 10 rushing attack should be able to wear down Washington's front seven. Could Week 10 yield another 120, 130 yards rushing for the Vikings? Yes, the Redskins ride huge momentum after beating the Seahawks at their place, and the Vikings' top-tier defense knows the challenges Kirk Cousins presents. If Minnesota can keep Cousins below 200 to 210 yards passing, it'll extend that winning streak to five. The Redskins have had a difficult schedule the first 8 weeks, with 6 games against teams who are combined 38 and 13. The Vikings have played 2 games against teams above 500. That's not to say the Vikings aren't good. It's to put each of their records into perspective. The Redskins defense has played 6 quarterbacks ranked among the top 12 in total QBR. The Vikings have faced one. They get their second on Sunday, so there might not be a big gap at all between these teams based on what they've faced to this point. But at the end of the day, though, Bullock, I got to go with you. I got to go with Minnesota. My final score, 21-17, Minnesota over Washington. In Washington, should be a good one. Now we move on to our late afternoon games. 4:05 kickoff on CBS. It'll be the Houston Texans squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles. CBS will have it. It'll be Iron Eagle with Dan Fouts and Evan Washburn. They'll be on the call for this one. And the Rams, 11 to 12 and a half point favorites against the Texans. Rams lead the all-time series 2-1. This will be just only their fourth meeting all time. Their last meeting was 2013 in Houston. The Rams won easily 38-13. Houston's only win against the Rams came in 2009 in St. Louis, 16-13. And their first meeting was 2005. Rams won 33-27 in overtime in Houston. And Ryan Fitzpatrick was instrumental in that win, by the way. So 2-1 for the Rams. And obviously, this game did not make our top 5 games of the week, of course. So without Deshaun Watson, the Texans are not built to beat the Rams in a shootout, which is what Sunday's game likely will turn into if the Rams keep up their offensive pace. The Rams are averaging an NFL best 32.9 points a game, and the Texans are allowing 26 points a game, third most in the NFL. It will be hard for a Tom Savage-led team to outscore Los Angeles, and it could get ugly early in the game. Since they moved west for the start of the 2016 season, the Rams have won only 2 games at Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. That rate needs to pick up, and it'll start to this week. The Texans are injured and broken. The Rams are healthy and rolling, winning their past 2 games by a combined score of 84-17. Their offense is humming along and their defense is finding its form. The Rams haven't been home in more than a month, and they owe the locals a victory. They'll get it on Sunday with ease. 31-13. Rams over Houston. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I smell a squash win for the Rams here.
Yeah, I smell a squash win for the LA Rams as well. I mean, what can you say? I mean, this team definitely continues to impress me, and I'll have to say at this point, I mean, the season were to end, I mean, I think to me, Sean McVay should be the coach of the year.
Amen.
No doubt. Huh?
Amen. I agree.
I mean, whatever he's doing with this Rams team, I mean, he's made this LA Rams team a much different team than we've seen in the past. I mean, Jared Goff, I mean, he certainly ain't playing like a rookie from last season. No way. And that defense, I mean, has played really well as well. So I'm gonna say, my final score. I mean, I got the Rams winning. I'm gonna say 41 to 14 is gonna be my final score. This is not even gonna be close. No freaking way. So with that being said, Florio, let's move on to our next game, which I will lead off on.
And it's America's Game of the Week on Fox, and also the #1 game of the week, according to the FPI Top 5. The Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And if it's America's Game of the Week on Fox, you know who's working it. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews. They'll be in Atlanta. Falcons, 3-point favorites. And the series history does favor the Dallas Cowboys 14-10. However, the Atlanta Falcons have won the last 2 meetings in a row between these two. Their last meeting was 2015. Falcons won 39-28 in Dallas. Last meeting in Atlanta was 2012 in the Georgia Dome. Falcons won that 19-13. Cowboys last beat the Falcons in Atlanta back in 2006, 38-28 in the Georgia Dome. So all the schematics out of the way. Michael Bullock, you get to lead off on the game of the week.
Well, yes, this is definitely going to be America's Game of the Week. I mean, the Cowboys and the Falcons have to feel as though they are looking in the mirror when both teams have prolific offenses that put them high on the list of divisional favorites when the season began. But the Cowboys and Falcons have struggled to find their rhythm consistently, and therefore are looking up at rivals leading their respective divisions. So it's no surprise that the opposing coaches see a lot to like in the other. Falcons coach Dan Quinn heaped praise on the Cowboys running game during the week. Likewise, Cowboys coach Jason Garrett blurted out rapid-fire compliments of Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones. However, aside from the mutual admiration, the Falcons and the Cowboys each have a pressing need to defeat the other when they meet on Sunday afternoon. Atlanta's lost 4 or 5 games after a hot start. Despite an arsenal of proven offensive players, the Falcons struggled to move the chains last week in a 2017 loss at Carolina. Atlanta converted just 4 15 opportunities on 3rd and 4th downs, including a pair of costly failures in the 4th quarter. Conversely, Dallas has started to regain its momentum from last season. 3 straight, including a 28-17 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. But Dallas has to continue winning in order to keep up with the NFC East leading Philadelphia Eagles. The Cowboys trail Philadelphia by 2 games, and though the NFC East rivals still have both of their head-to-head matchups ahead of them, Dallas probably can't afford to fall further behind in the standings. Dallas fans can take solace in the fact that quarterback Dak Prescott is shining in his 2nd season in the NFL. Prescott has completed 63% of his passes this season for 1,818 yards with 16 touchdowns and 4 picks. Of course, the big story, of course, Ezekiel Elliott's uh, uh, appeal was denied by the Second Circuit Court of Appeal, so it's looking like he's not going to play in this game. So that's definitely going to hurt this Dallas Cowboys here. So this is a tough one. I mean, I'll be quite honest. I mean, if Ezekiel Elliott was going to play in this one, I would have gone with the Dallas Cowboys, no doubt. But I think now because of this, I think it's going to make it tough. So this is tough, but I'm gonna say this is tough, but I still think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game even without Ezekiel Elliott because I just don't have faith in this Atlanta Falcons team. I mean, they just been a major disappointment this season. I got Dallas winning. I think Dak Prescott's going to lead the way for this team, and my final score is going to be 27-20. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Atlanta Falcons. Florio, it is yours.
No game this week has as much on the line in terms of the playoff race than this one. Both teams can see their potential playoff prospects swing fairly dramatically depending on the outcome. Dallas may hold the sixth seed in the NFC in the quote unquote if the season ended today scenario, but the season doesn't end today. And according to FPI, the Cowboys face the most difficult remaining schedule of any team in the league. Dallas still has 2 division games against the Philadelphia Eagles, FPI's top-ranked team, including the home encounter in Week 11, and tough games at Oakland and home to Seattle still to come. When factoring in FPI's projections for the rest of the season, Dallas has a 49% chance to make the playoffs, 7th best in the NFC. A win would get the Cowboys to a more comfortable 66%, and a loss would drop them to 32%, the biggest difference of the week. Atlanta is a bit more of an outsider for the playoffs as the Falcons are behind 2 teams in the division and are mainly fighting only for a wild card berth. A Falcons win would put them closer to the wild card race with a 27% chance to make the postseason, while a loss would drop them to 9%. Just how important is this game for the Cowboys? According to FPI, if they beat the Falcons, they have a 66% chance of making the playoffs. If they lose, it goes down to 33%. The last time the Cowboys won 6 of their first 9 games in back-to-back seasons was a 5-year stretch from 1991 to 1995. So history is not on their side. But their running game gives them an edge. In 3 of their past 4 games, the Falcons have given up at least 138 rushing yards as a defense. The Cowboys have run for at least 131 yards in their past 5 games. Even with Ezekiel Elliott out, the Cowboys believe their running game will travel. This is the best matchup of Week 10, according to FPI. The outcome will go a long way in determining whether the Falcons are the second consecutive Super Bowl loser to miss the playoffs the following season. A loss drops the Falcons' chances of making the playoffs to 9%, according to FPI. Don't count on that happening as they return home after 3 straight on the road and avoid having to face Ezekiel Elliott. But I agree with you, Bullock. I mean, until the Falcons prove it to me otherwise, their offense has not been the same with Steve Sarkisian leading the way and losing Kyle Shanahan. So I will go with the Dallas Cowboys as well. My final score, I'm going to go 31-23, Dallas over Atlanta. Game of the week. Should be a great one. Looking forward to seeing this one. This will be on our Fox affiliate, Fox Providence. So looking forward to seeing how it all goes down. Oh, boy. Now we go from the game of the week to the Zonk game of the week. The other 425 game on Fox. The New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium in San Francisco. Chris Myers, Daryl Moose Johnston, Laura Oakman on the call. Giants are 2.5 to 3-point favorites. And the series history favors the New York Giants 16 to 15. Their last meeting was 2015 in New York. Giants won 30-27. 49ers beat the Giants the year before, 2014, also in New York, 16-10. Their last meeting in San Francisco was 2012. Giants won easily, 26-3. Niners last beat the Giants at home the year before, 2011, 27-20. And then they went on to have that unforgettable NFC Championship game months later in that season. So, which the Giants got their.
And that's what I was just gonna say. It wasn't that long ago. These two were playing for a spot at Super Bowl 46.
Indeed. And
now look at this.
And now they only have one win. These two teams have combined for only one win. Yeesh. The Giants' one win came against a quarterback who has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns this season. Their 7 losses have come against competent quarterbacks or better. This at least gives the Giants a chance on Sunday with C.J. Beathard starting for the 49ers. But after watching them against the Rams, this isn't a team that looks capable of beating anybody on the road. And that might include the 49ers and the Browns. Given how banged up the already talent-deficient Niners are, it figures to take a team equally injured for them to have a shot at their first win of the season. Into the Giants. New York is also dealing with a rash of injuries, and unlike the Niners, there is speculation about Coach Ben McAdoo's future. The Giants are in disarray and have to travel across the country for this one. As hard as it is to see the 49ers winning, considering their current roster, this is their best chance to do so. And if they don't get one here, it's fair to wonder when one might come this season. So this is a very tough game to call. Even though it's the Zone game of the week, this is a very tough game to call. My gut's telling me to go with the Giants, but my heart is telling me to go with the 49ers to get their first win. But look at the quarterback matchup. Eli Manning, C.J. Beathard. Enough said. Reluctantly, I'm going to go with the Giants here, but I would not be surprised if the 49ers pull this one out. But I'm going to go with the Giants to win. Ugly game. I'm going to say 20-19. The Giants over the 49ers, only because of who the quarterbacks are. So, Bullock, I ask, Eli Manning, C.J. Beathard. You make the choice.
Easy choice. I'm going with the Giants to win this one. 2017 is going to be my final score. I'm not going to waste any more time on this Zonk game of the week. Let's just move on to Sunday Night Football. And it's my game.
Yes, sir. And what a game we got here. Sunday Night Football on NBC. It'll be Michael Bullock's team, your reigning and defending undisputed Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, squaring off against the Denver Broncos, Sports Authority Field at Mile High in Denver. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya will have it. Patriots, 7.5 to 8.5 point favorites. This game came in as the number 3 game of the week, according to the FPI top 5 games of the week, and rightfully so. And the series history favors the Denver Broncos, 26-21. They met last year, of course, in Denver. Patriots won that one 16-3. Broncos last beat the Patriots at home and overall in 2015. You remember it was Thanksgiving weekend, a snowy night in Denver. Brock Osweiler became a folk hero, leading the Broncos to a wild 30-24 overtime win. And then just a couple months later, they would meet in one of the great AFC championship games in recent memory, which the Broncos went on to win 20-18. And of course, the Broncos went on to win Super Bowl 50, defeating Carolina. So, number 3 overall game of the week, but considering the way it's set up, this is technically the game of the week on the AFC side of the ledger. So Michael Bullock, here we go. Your Patriots against the Broncos in Denver. Your team is rolling. What else is new? They're clicking on all cylinders. But the Broncos, lordy, are they a mess? And I think this is a great opportunity for your Patriots to take full advantage of that mess.
Oh yeah, this would be a great opportunity for them to take advantage of the struggling Broncos. And let's just say, they switched quarterback. The Broncos, they switched quarterbacks. They are struggling with injuries all along with their offensive line, and they've only averaged a little more than 10 points per game during a 4-game losing streak that has dropped their record to 3-5 at the season's midway point. Daunting challenge in trying to pull off a turnaround of their season against the Patriots, which has won 11 straight road games in addition to having extra preparation time because it is coming off its bye. Coach Vance Joseph said the Broncos are going to have to be ready for the Patriots mentally as well as physically. The Broncos and Patriots are meeting for the 7th straight year in the regular season. New England has a 5-1 edge with the only Denver win in 2015 when the Broncos advanced to the Super Bowl and beat Carolina. Brock Osweiler was under center for the lone Broncos victory in that span. And after a meandering journey with stops at 2 teams, he'll be back as the quarterback on Sunday night, making a second consecutive start since replacing struggling Trevor Siemian. A win against a formidable team like the Patriots could go a long way towards salvaging the season. A reshuffled offensive line could complicate matters, though. The Broncos lost right tackle Menelik Watson to a season-ending calf injury earlier this week, and Donald Stevenson, one of the candidates to replace him, just returned to practice this week in limited fashion after missing several games with a calf injury of his own. Alan Barber and Elijah Wilkinson also are being considered as possible replacements for Watson. Meanwhile, right guard Ron Leary and center Matt Paredes missed practice time this week, and their ability remains in question. All things considered, this still might be one of the best chances for the Denver offense to show some signs of life, considering New England is giving up an average of 417 yards per game, most in the league. Coach Bill Belichick said the Patriots' defensive issues are being addressed. Patriots quarterback Tom Brady said the Broncos defense can't be overlooked. Denver has the league's second-ranked defense, though it was overrun in last week's loss to the Eagles, hurt by two offensive turnovers that set up short fields for Philadelphia. Be without one of his key wide receivers. Chris Hogan missed with a shoulder injury, missed practice time this week, and they've already ruled him out. Also missing time on the practice field or taking part on a limited basis were Malcolm Brown and tackle Marcus Cannon, and those two have also been ruled out. And quarterback Stephon Gilmore with a concussion, and he may return for this game. And of course, the other big story, he's back. Martellus Bennett is back, and who knows if he's going to be able to go in this game. And if he can, that could be huge for the offense. To have another tight end out there, so that'll and Martellus Bennett knows how to run that system, or he understands that Patriots offense. So yeah, I got to go with the New England Patriots in this one. Until I see something from the Broncos, I cannot be willing to go with them, even though they do have the second best defense in the NFL. I'm going to say the Patriots win this one. My final score is going to be, I'm going to go 21-10 is going to be my final score. So, Florio, it's yours.
There is no team the Patriots have underperformed against more on the road in the FPI era, 2008 to now, than the Denver Broncos. New England has played 6 games in Denver during that time, including the playoffs, and has won just twice. If we use the Patriots' FPI pregame chance to win, we would have expected the Patriots to win 3.03 of those games. Their difference between expected wins and actual win, minus 1.03, is the largest of any Patriot opponent while on the road in that span. Sunday will mark the 3rd time the Patriots enter as FPI favorites, and they are 1-1 in the previous 2 games. Denver is clinging to its playoff hopes despite its 3-5 record. Denver has the 9th best AFC chance to make the playoffs at 13%, but a win would lift the Broncos to 23%, while a loss would drop them to 7%. Denver still has FBI's top-rated defense and will need Von Miller to get to Brady. Only Cameron Wake has as many sacks against Brady, 7.5, as Miller does since Miller entered the league in 2011. With a win, Bill Belichick will tie Tom Landry for third on the all-time list for coaches, 200 on the all-time win list for coaches at 270. Turnovers are key in every game, but when considering Denver is tied for last in the NFL in turnover differential, minus 12, 19 giveaways, 7 takeaways, it is especially pertinent this week. The Patriots are coming off the bye, and while they are expected to be without 3 starters because of injury, they should still have enough to get the job done. The Broncos are on a 4-game losing streak, their longest since 2010. They've lost 5 of their past 6 games, and now they get a Patriot team coming off a bye. The Broncos have started poorly in games this season. They've been outscored 41-6 in the first quarter of their 5 losses, and they turn the ball over far too often. Only the Browns, with 21 turnovers, have turned the ball over more often. If the Broncos don't fix either one of those issues in this one, it could well be another ugly primetime appearance. So I'm going with the New England Patriots as well. No question here. My final score, 27-17, New England over Denver on Sunday night. 1 game left, and that's Monday Night Football. Another good matchup here. We got the Miami Dolphins squaring off against the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. On ESPN, Sean McDonough, John Gruden, Lisa Salters will have the call. Carolina, a 9 to 10 point favorite. Series history favors the Miami Dolphins 4-1. The Dolphins won the first 4 meetings, but the Panthers finally broke through in 2013, winning in Miami 20-16. Last meeting in Carolina was 2009. Miami won 24-17. The Panthers are 0-2 against the Dolphins at home, 2009, like I just said, in their very first meeting all the way back in 1998, when Miami escaped Charlotte with a 13-9 win. So 4-1 in favor of Miami. But that was then. This is now. The Dolphins are 0-2 in primetime games and draw their toughest assignment to date against the Panthers. Miami's offense still lacks chunk plays and is 31st in the league in total yards. That won't be enough to keep up with Panthers quarterback Cam Newton and company. The Panthers already have beaten quarterbacks Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, and Matthew Stafford. It's hard to see the league's number 1 defense getting beat by Jay Cutler. This unit is getting stronger by the week, allowing only 2 touchdowns in the past 3 games. If it can shut down the Miami running game to force Cutler to win the game, Cam Newton can get away with playing average. This is an easy one. I got Carolina winning. My final score, 28-13, Carolina over Miami. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Miami and Carolina Monday night?
Yeah, this is another chance for Miami to try to make a statement here. I mean, against a better team like the Carolina Panthers, but let's be quite honest. I like what I see from Carolina, and I just don't know what to expect from this Miami team. So I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers to win this one. 7-20 is going to be my final score. So, yeah, there's nothing more to say. So I say we just move on to the power rankings now, Florio.
And before we do, I forgot to mention 4 teams on bye this week. The Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Oakland Raiders, and the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll have to take note of that when it comes to the power rankings. Well, we know where one of those teams is. no question about it. Not sure about the others, but, it is what it is. So yeah, power rankings time. And I'll say it like this. Most of these will be pretty easy, I will admit. Because most of these teams were on bye. And other teams just kept on winning that were in certain positions. So Just give me a moment while I load up my spreadsheet of NFL power rankings. Most of it will be a chore, especially with MF out. He would have helped us get the ball rolling on it, but I think my top four are pretty much set, and the other positions are going to be rather tough. I do have some duds of the week. Um, First and foremost, dud of the week, my Buffalo Bills. I mean, getting beat down by the Jets, 34-21 on Thursday night, getting sacked 7 times, turning the ball over 3 times. That didn't help matters, so Buffalo's out. Um, and then after that, I believe the Kansas City Chiefs, believe it or not, make the dud list for the first time this season. Um, they're out after they got beat. And then from there, um, the Baltimore Ravens are also out of the power rankings as well. Um, and I think that's it for duds. I think I've pretty much covered the duds. So, yeah, so there we go. It covers the duds. So let's start it off at number 10, and coming in at number 10 is I'm dropping this team down to number 10. Um, a little bit of a, to serve as a little message, if you will. Um, Number 10 for me, I am going to go. I think I'm going to go with Seattle here. Uh, yeah, Seattle is my number 10. They might be higher next week because of that win over Arizona last night. But Seattle lost to the Washington Redskins. That's definitely going to benefit Washington. I'm going to have Washington in there in a little bit, but the Seattle Seahawks, they lose 17-14 to the Redskins. It was a close loss. Wilson was sacked twice and picked off twice, but their saving grace was their defense sacked Kirk Cousins 6 times. So that was a major saving grace for them, and that's why I gotta still have them in there even with the loss. And Doug Baldwin had a solid game, 108 yards and a touchdown in the win. Also, Blair Walsh 0 for 3 on field goals. That was the killer right there. And but I'll give their defense credit. I mean, 6 sacks for that defense, 2 for Dwight Freeney, 1 for Michael Bennett, 1 for Bobby Wagner, 1 for Quentin Jefferson, and half a sack apiece for Jaron Reed and Nazaire Jones. But they'll definitely be up there next week because of that win, but we'll see where it is. But for now, they're number 10, Seattle Seahawks. Michael Bullock, how about it?
Yeah, I agree. The Seattle Seahawks at number 10. I mean, coming off of that disappointing loss to the Redskins, 17-14. So, I mean, yeah, they'll definitely move up because of the victory over the Cardinals. But we basically mentioned everything about especially the big injury to Richard Sherman. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So, Seahawks are number 10. So, I say we just move right on to number 9.
Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, number 9. I'll tell you, it was between them and Washington. I'll be real honest with you. It was between them and Washington, but here's the thing. Detroit, yeah, they beat Green Bay 30-17 on Monday night. But remember, it was not Aaron Rodgers. If it was Aaron Rodgers, then it would have been Detroit ahead of Washington. No doubt about it. But it came against Brett Hundley. But still, Detroit wins at Lambeau for the second time in 3 years after losing, what, 25 years in a row or something like that, almost? But Stafford, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, played a flawless game, even though he was only sacked once. The defense got to Brett Hundley. They sacked him 3 times. Amir Abdullah had a rushing touchdown. 200-yard receivers in the game. Golden Tate, 113. Marvin Jones, 107. But Jones had 2 touchdown receptions. So let's keep that in mind. And 1 field goal missed, but that's okay. Tavon Wilson, Tahir Whitehead, and Anthony Zettel with the sacks. And, Detroit back at 500. And a very impressive win over the Packers, even though it was not with Aaron Rodgers. So nothing more to say. Detroit Lions are number 9. Michael Bullock, what do you say?
Yeah, the Detroit Lions are number 9. I mean, yeah, definitely an impressive win over the Packers, even though, like you said, they didn't have Aaron Rodgers, but hey, a win's a win any way you can take it. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Let's just move on to number 8.
And this is where I have the Washington Redskins. Washington Redskins coming at number 8, defeating the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle, the 12th man. They're back at 500. How can you not put them in? I mean, big win for them. I mean, stealing one in Seattle. We all know how tough it is to win in Seattle, but they found a way to do it. And it was Kirk Cousins who led the drive, even though he was sacked 6 times. Defense, 2 sacks and 2 interceptions of Russell Wilson. Running game did nothing. The receiving game did nothing. But Rob Kelly had a rushing touchdown. He had 2 rushing touchdowns despite only 18 yards rushing on 14 carries. And then it was pretty much the field goal unit. Nick Rose with a field goal. And it was an ugly game. But Washington, going into Seattle and beating the Redskins, that's a bit, going in to beat the Seahawks, rather, that's a big deal. Terrell McClain and Zach Brown with the sacks. Will Compton with an interception. And Quentin Dunbar. Kendall Fuller had the other interception. But because of Washington going into Seattle and beating the Seahawks, you have to give the edge to Washington here. So Washington Redskins number 8. Michael Bullock, what do you say?
Oh yeah, you definitely got to put the Washington Redskins number 8, especially after their win over Seattle. And like you said, I mean, going into Seattle is not an easy task, but somehow they did. And Kirk Cousins led the way with that comeback, and of course with the winning touchdown from Rob Kelly. So yeah, an impressive win for them. I mean, it wasn't pretty, but hey, it doesn't matter. They got the win. So yeah, Redskins at number 8. So let's move on to number 7.
Tennessee Titans at number 7, knocking off the Ravens 23-20. They're playing well again. I believe they've now won 3 in a row. They're now tied for first in the AFC South with Jacksonville. Jacksonville in the top 5, by the way. Mariota, 2 touchdown passes, even though he was sacked 3 times and got picked. The defense had 2 sacks and 2 interceptions of Joe Flacco. Derrick Henry, a rushing touchdown in the win. And Rashard Matthews and Eric Decker were receiving touchdowns. And Jarrell Casey with a sack, and Derek Morgan and Carl Klug with half a sack apiece. And Kevin Byard with 2 interceptions, totaling 33 yards. And in Tennessee, right back in the thick of things. So they've now won 3 in a row. So I got the Tennessee Titans at number 7. So Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yeah, I agree. Tennessee Titans are my number 7 as well. I mean, you pretty much touched on everything. So let's just move right on to number 6.
and I believe this is where the bye week rule comes into effect. Um, yes, it does. I have the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings are my number 6. Remember, they were on bye last week, so of course they automatically stay there. So there's really nothing left for me to say. Minnesota Vikings are number 6, and they got a tough one against Washington. We'll see what happens, but the Vikes are number 6. So, no. Oh, and how silly of me. We forgot to do our routine with the Minnesota Vikings. They're at number 6. Ooh. How about it?
Yes, Minnesota Vikings at number 6 because of the bye week. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we gotta do it again with the Minnesota Vikings, of course, being at number 6. Shall we say?
Mm-hmm. Gotta love that flugelhorn, baby.
How can you not like that bugle horn?
Well, too bad we're not going to get to hear it because that game's in Washington and not in Minneapolis. So, really nothing left to say on that. So, yeah, so Minnesota comes in at number 6. And now let's move on to number 5. And this is an easy one at number 5. It's the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints cracking the top 5 as they have now won. They are now winners of 6 in a row, 6-2. Half game lead over Carolina in the South. 30-10 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I can't believe this team was 0-2 and a mess. And now they've won 6 in a row, and they're playing unbelievably well. I expect that to continue against my Buffalo Bills. Reluctantly, I got to admit it. Drew Brees, 263 yards, 2 TDs. Defense recorded 4 total sacks, 2 each of Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jameis Winston. Alvin Kamara with a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown as well. Alvin Kamara played very well. 152 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns in the win. And Ted Ginn Jr. had a receiving touchdown as well. And Cameron Jordan, 1.5 sacks. Alex Okafor, half a sack. And Von Bell, half a sack. David Onyemata, half a sack. Halui Kikaha with a sack as well. I mean, 4 total. And I mean, this team just keeps on rolling. They've won 6 in a row. I expect it to be 7, but the Saints, if you're going to make it 7, don't take my team lightly because my team's actually well. So we'll see what happens on Sunday, and we'll be seeing that on Fox Providence. And you know I'll have a major vested interest in that one, of course. So with that being said, New Orleans Saints number 5. Michael Bullock, how about it?
Yes, the New Orleans Saints are number 5. They just continue to impress me week after week. I mean, 6 in a row after an 0-2 start. I mean, and leading the NFC South. I don't think anybody saw this one coming. So, yeah, New Orleans Saints number 5. So let's move on to number 4.
And a tie at number 4. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams at 5-3. I believe Jacksonville's won 2 in a row, and Dallas has won 3 in a row. And yeah, yes, that is correct. Jacksonville is the first number 4. Like I said, they've won 2 in a row. Easy win over the Cincinnati Bengals at home. That was a 23-7 win. And I mean, they made it look easy. Blake Bortles, touchdown pass, 259 yards. Defense with 2 sacks of Andy Dalton. Running game didn't do much. Marcus Lee with 75 yards and a touchdown to win. Pretty much field goals. And the special teams also made a play. Jaden Mickens had a punt return touchdown in the win. Josh Lambo with 3 field goals. And I mean, they pretty much made life miserable for Andy Dalton and company. They kept the Cincinnati running game at bay, and Calais Campbell and Malik Jackson had the sacks of Dalton, 23-7, and they held Cincinnati to a season low 148 yards in the win. So, well done, Jacksonville. They're the first number 4, and the other number 4 is the Dallas Cowboys. They've won 3 in a row, and they were very impressive, knocking off the Kansas City Chiefs 28-17 to knock the Chiefs out of the power rankings. 28-17 winners over KC. Defense with 2 sacks and an interception of Alex Smith. Dak Prescott with 2 passing touchdowns in the win. Ezekiel Elliott, 93 yards rushing and a touchdown. Prescott had a rushing touchdown as well. And a very impressive win for Dallas. Jeff Heath with the interception, totaling 3 yards. Taco Charlton and David Irving with the sacks. And nice win for the Dallas Cowboys. Very impressive. Let's see if they can keep it up against Atlanta this weekend. So number 4s, Jacksonville Jaguars, Dallas Cowboys. Michael Bullock, how about it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have the tie number 4 as well. Is those teams the Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars? So, enough said. Let's just move on to number 3. We're in the top 3 now, Florio.
And it's another tie at number 3, and I believe both of these teams are going to stay put because of the bye week. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Los Angeles Rams, number 3s, both have won 3 in a row and are 6-2. Well, actually, the Steelers were on bye, but the Rams, they rolled all over the New York Giants, 51-17 in the Meadowlands. I mean, man alive. No need to worry about the Steelers. They were on bye last week. We last saw them 2 weeks ago on a Sunday night, defeating the Detroit Lions 20-15. They got they have Indianapolis coming up. And as for the Rams, Jared Goff, 311 yards, 4 touchdown passes in the win. No picks, no sacks. Defense sacked Eli Manning twice. Also had an interception. Todd Gurley, 2 rushing touchdowns in the win. Robert Woods, 2 receiving touchdowns. Sammy Watkins, a 67-yard receiving touchdown. Tyler Higbee had a receiving touchdown as well. I mean, it was pretty much a perfect performance for the Rams. Connor Barwin with a sack. Aaron Donald with a sack. Trumaine Johnson with an interception. And the most impressive Ram performance I've seen probably since the Greatest Show on Turf days. 51. Took care of business against the Giants. 6-2. Lead the West by half a game over Seattle. And so they stay at 3. And Pittsburgh stays at 3 because of the bye. So Pittsburgh Steelers and Los Angeles Rams, number 3s. Michael Bullock.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers and the LA Rams are my number 3s as well. So let's move on to number 2.
And it's your team, Michael Bullock. You're reigning and defending undisputed Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Winners of 4 in a row, 6-2. Bye week, so they stay at number 2. We last saw them 2 weeks ago, getting by the LA Chargers 21-13. Denver next, and yeah, so I like their chances there on Sunday night. So we'll see what happens with the Patriots. They're going to be on the road the next couple of weeks. So they're going to be in Denver Sunday, and then the following week they're going to be in Mexico to take on the Raiders. So that'll be interesting. And they won't see Gillette Stadium again until Thanksgiving weekend when they host hello Michael Fletcher's Miami Dolphins Buddy Bowl time in a couple of weeks on Thanksgiving weekend. So we'll have some fun with that. You better believe it. So, but for now they're number two. It's strictly because of bye. So, all right, Bullet, number two, your team, Patriots.
Yep, number two is my team, the New England Patriots. Yeah, they're there because of the bye. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Uh, let's move on to number one, and I wonder who it might be.
Hmm. Why don't you enlighten us, Bullet?
I will. I think I'll enlighten it with three simple words: fly, Eagles, fly.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. The Philadelphia Eagles, number one in the rankings this week. I mean, they just continue to add to it after a dominant performance over the Denver Broncos, putting up I think it was 51 points on
Mm-hmm.
what was at the time the best defense in the NFL. Well, they made them look like the last ranked defense in the National Football League. I mean, Carson Wentz continues to really wow me, and I think at this point he's got to be the favorite to win the MVP with the kind of season he's having. I mean, the offense is really good. The defense has been very good as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say about this team. I mean, and if they continue to play this well, they'll definitely run away with that NFC East. So and make their first playoff appearance since 2013. So there's really nothing more to say. Philadelphia Eagles number one. Fly Eagles fly. Florio, what's yours?
Yeah, it's Philadelphia. Number one, fly Eagles fly indeed. Winners of 7 in a row, 8-1, best record in the league, 51-23 beatdown of Denver. You know we'll see them at number one again next week because they're on bye this week. 4 touchdown passes for Carson Wentz, despite only 200 yards, basically. Defense with 3 sacks and 2 interceptions of Brock Osweiler. Um, Corey Clement, 2 rushing touchdowns in the win. And welcome to Philadelphia, MF's old friend, Jay Ajayi. He had a rushing touchdown with 77 yards. Easily his best game of the season, hands down. Alshon Jeffrey, 2 receiving touchdowns. Trey Burton. Clement also had a receiving touchdown in the win. And just an all-around dominant performance for the Philadelphia Eagles. Chris Long, Vinnie Curry, Nigel Bradham had the sacks. Rodney McLeod with an interception totaling 50 yards. And Patrick Robinson had the other interception totaling 17 yards. This is the best team in all of football right now. And if they keep playing like this, who knows? Maybe we'll see them in Minneapolis come February for Super Bowl 52 if they keep doing what they're doing. So, no question about it. For at least the next 2 weeks, this week and next week because of the bye, number one, fly Eagles fly. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. So that will put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday, Week 10. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're going to do our shout-outs real quick, and Michael Bullock, we'll start it off with you, and then I'll set up one of the most exciting weeks of future content I've ever set up in a long time.
Yes, definitely. And of course, shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's our strictly sports shows or our wrestling shows, whether it's Ridiculously Raw, Cerebral Smack Talk. Of course, shout outs to all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. To all of our friends from our high school days, you guys know who you are. To all of our local personalities from 6, 10, and 12. All of our national personalities from ESPN, Fox Sports, MLB Network, NFL Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, all the other great networks out there. to Stata Sorrell and Lindsey McCormick, and of course, our friends from the Road Show, of course, former co-host Mary Larson and Megan Mooney, and of course, the three current people: Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, Michaela Johnson, and I want to send out a special congratulations to WPRO's Tara Granahan, who actually got married tonight over in the Roger Williams area in Providence. So best of luck to her and her new husband as they begin the new chapter of their lives. So yeah, and of course shout outs to Michael Fletcher and of course the Grand Poobah himself, Derek Ferreira. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, and enjoy your weekend, everyone. So Florio, take us home and set up that very busy future content that's coming up this week.
Oh my, are we going to be busy next week, my friends? I'll tell you that. Before I do, a special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows what they are. Over 50 views for Ridiculously Raw this past Monday night. So thank you all very much for that. Very much appreciated. Um, and of course, we're the best fans in the world. Enough said there. Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, along with Kevin Woodson and the Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbar, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, and Rob Parsons, and of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher, who couldn't be with us tonight because of work commitments beyond his control, and of course, the Grand Poobah himself, the one and only Derek Ferreira, and along with our personalities from 6, 10, and 12, our other personalities over at ESPN, FS1, NHL Network, NFL Network, MLB Network, NBA TV, and of course, Stata Sorrell and Lindsey McCormick, along with Julie Alexandria, Chantel McKay from the Golf Channel, and our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, and former co-hosts Megan Mooney and Mary Larson, and of course, last but not least, my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street, Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning at 9, Bible study. A little after 10, Sunday morning service. And then Wednesday night at 7, another Bible study. So very much looking forward to seeing them all again on Sunday as always. And that's it for shout outs. Now, get ready. Get your pens out. Mark your calendars. We're going to be on every night next week. Survivor Series week. Get ready for this. Monday night, Ridiculously Raw. We're going to review the Go Home show for Monday Night Raw for Survivor Series. Triple threat match. Mickie James, Bayley, Dana Brooke. Winner of that match will be the 5th and final member of Team Raw for the women at Survivor Series. And of course, not one but 2 huge returns. The big dog, Roman Reigns, he returns, as well as your reigning and defending undisputed Universal Champion, the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, and his advocate, Paul Heyman. You know they're going to have a lot to say about Brock Lesnar's new opponent for Survivor Series. He ain't facing Jinder Mahal anymore. Oh, no. He's going to be facing the now new WWE Champion, the phenomenal AJ Styles. Holy crap, that is going to be freaking insane. And of course, I'll have my reviews of 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And I'm going to tell you all right now, the 205 Live review, not going to be pretty. I'm going to tell you that right now. Impact Wrestling, a different story. Tuesday night, not sure on the time. I don't know if it's going to be 10 or 10:30, but it will be the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on his channel, Brace Fan 95. We'll review SmackDown Live's Go Home show for Survivor Series. 3 huge matches on that show. New Day against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Baron Corbin and Sin Cara for the United States Heavyweight Championship. And of course, Natalya and Charlotte Flair for the Women's Championship. So that's all Tuesday night. Maybe some Mikey's Mindset stuff. We'll see what happens. Of course, the big news came out today. Lucha Underground is coming back for a 4th season. So I know MF's probably going to have something to say about that. Wednesday night, normally we're off, but not this Wednesday night. We're going to have a special Wednesday night edition of College Football Wednesday. Not College Football Thursday. It's going to be College Football Wednesday. We'll run down the college football docket. And then this show will not be on Friday next week. It's going to be moved up to Thursday. It's going to be Strictly Sports NFL Thursday next week. And we'll definitely keep an eye on the Thursday night game between the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, that's going to be a good one. Oh, you better believe it. And then from there, next Friday night, it's not NFL Friday. It's going to be a very special edition of the Wrestling Forum, where we are going to preview both NXT TakeOver War Games and the 31st annual Survivor Series, which is shaping up to be perhaps the greatest Survivor Series of all time. If they keep doing what they're doing, they're well on their way to doing it. So, man, I'm looking forward to that next week. Not sure about Saturday, but then Sunday, of course, will be our full Survivor Series recap. Looking forward to that. So, very exciting indeed. Hope you got all that. So, but if not, check out the Wrestling Forum Facebook page and the Strictly Sports Twitter page. I posted that information on there earlier. So that's it. So until Monday night, as we kick off Survivor Series week with Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Edie Woodson, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy all of the college and NFL football action. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, as we kick off Survivor Series week, you've been watching Strictly Sports NFL Friday Week 10 right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long.